Alrighty, y'all. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to the channel. We're looking at 15 strangest things discovered in Australia, recently discovered in Australia. This is from Missing Files. This will be linked down below in the description. And this comes to us from Trace on Discord. So Trace, thank you for that suggestion. Seriously, you guys are killing it lately with the suggestions. I am just trying to keep up. If I could do 10 videos a day, I would. It is crazy, guys. So here we go. Let's get straight into this. This is kind of a long video. Should be very interesting. Here we go, guys. Australia, always fascinating. I think this will be too.
Know that Australia is the 6th largest country in the world? Because the nation is so big, Australia's landscape is very diverse.
Look at that. Oh my goodness.
Allowing you to stroll upon the white sands of an untouched shell beach one day and make
so
your way
much
through the eerily fun Gnome Village the next. And that's just the tip of the pyramid in the ocean, so to speak. Yeah, that's right. Australia is one of the most fascinating places, but it can get a little weird down under. Here are 15 of the strangest things recently discovered in Australia.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm pumped for this. Hopefully you guys are too. Can't wait to see the comments on this one too. Here we go.
Mariman. This huge geoglyph in South Australia has puzzled scientists for decades.
Okay, that is
huge. The new
huge.
NASA image was shot by the space agency's operational...
Yo, look at how big that is. You can see that from space, I bet, right?
Imager satellite, and
if
it's
you know where to look.
Us too. Cut into the harsh landscape with lines over 115 feet wide and 1 foot deep, the towering Mariman is easily visible from space.
Wow.
And can you believe the landmark was only discovered in 1998 by a pilot flying over the outback? It's true.
Recent.
Not a single witness got to see the creation of the Mariman. Somehow, a person or group of people were able to create a 2.6-mile long line drawing of an Aboriginal hunter without being seen, which speaks to the absolute isolation of this part of Australia.
Yeah, we know the outback, parts of the outback, I should say, are extremely isolated. We do know that. So that is one thing someone would have going for them if they try and get away with something like this. But I do wonder how this is pretty good drawing. I mean, it's fairly detailed, the correct shape, and it's really, really big in this crazy environment. I don't know how someone did that and no one noticed. And when did they do it, right? It was just discovered in 98. In the grand scheme of things, it's pretty recent. This is crazy, dude.
His routine measures 17 miles around the full perimeter, which makes the Mariman the largest geoglyph and work of art in the world.
Yeah.
However, there have been several rumors about its mysterious creation. Some people claim the artwork was simply a publicity stunt, while others believe the image is either a message to aliens or was built by them.
Yeah,
and although NASA has revealed these pictures of the incredible work of art, they too have failed to solve the mystery of the Mariman.
That is incredible.
Although we may never know the true origin of the Mariman, it's certainly one of the most intriguing modern-day mysteries.
Yeah.
Now let's...
Okay, you guys got to tell me in the comments down below where this came from. Tell me your theories. What are your thoughts there? That is absolutely crazy. Hate to say it, I'm going to go with aliens there. That is nuts.
Let's get ready for today's missing topic. Is it an artifact from some unknown civilization?
Talk about aliens.
Is it a carefully crafted art piece mashing a human skull with that of a Xenobot from the Alien movie franchise?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's important, so much so that it's been mounted and put on display for all of us to marvel at. In the 4th installment of the Alien movies, Sigourney Weaver's character gives birth to a Xenobot that's been implanted in her body, and its skull would probably look something like this, half human, half alien. As you can guess,
jeez, man,
it didn't end well for the creature that her character birthed, but that's beside the point. We're talking about
that is not a good-looking creature at all.
Skulls have been used as the symbolic representation of death and mortality throughout history, through the Aztecs and the Mexican holiday of the dead, to right here in this display in Australia. 17th century artists used the skull in their still life paintings to depict the temporary nature of life and worldly possessions. Modern and contemporary artists have continued to use them. Do you love it, or is it a little gruesome for you? Comment below with the hashtag missing topic. Hey, did you know that if you smash the like button, subscribe, and click Ancient Egyptian Hieroglyphics? Did you know that Australia has some serious connections to ancient Egypt? That's what they say. Referred to as the Gnosesville glyphs, these intricate set of symbols is believed to have been carved some 5,000 years ago by ancient Egyptians who visited down under. According to numerous sources, the ancient Egyptian civilization was extremely well developed. They did construct powerful transoceanic ships, which may have taken them not only to the American continent, but Australia
Also
as well.
Australia, why
However,
not?
considered a hoax by many and ultimate evidence of ancient Egyptian transoceanic voyages by others, this curious set of symbols has produced mixed reviews from researchers around the globe. Did advanced ancient civilizations, like the ancient Egyptian civilizations, manage to travel by ship to other continents? It sure looks like it, and while many scholars are convinced these supposed hieroglyphs are nothing more than a modern-day forgery, an archaeological joke, there are those who not only believe they're the real deal, left behind by ancient Egyptian explorers more than 5,000 years ago, they're found in an area known for its aboriginal petroglyphs within the Brisbane Water National Park.
Wow. So what's your take on those? Real or a hoax? I think it's possible, but maybe not probable. Well, I don't know.
Castle in the Jungle, nestled in the heart of tropical North Queensland, is a timeless escape for the whole family and an opportunity to peer into the heart and soul of a pure romantic visionary, Jose Paranilla. This castle in the jungle was the dream of an ambitious Spanish immigrant who sailed to Australia in 1913 to make a life for himself and his fiancée waiting back home. He worked for over a decade, worlds away from his homeland, first as a laborer cutting sugarcane and then slowly building his wealth, buying, improving, and selling cane farms. After 11 years away making his fortune, in 1924, he returned to Spain to claim his bride, only to find that Matilda had married another. So he married her adventurous younger sister, and in 1925,
wow, look at that guy. Went back to get his, future wife. She already moved on. Wow. So way to stick it to her. He picks her sister. There you go. Wow, look at this guy. Went to Australia, gained some wealth, ended up with the sister, and he's got a castle down there that still stands. Wow, what a boss.
Happily sailed back with her to Australia on a honeymoon voyage. In 1929, he discovered this undeveloped forest land alongside a waterfall and knew he and his bride would one day call it their home. They spent the next 10 years building it with their bare hands, and the Paranellas wanted to share their dream castle with the public. It was the perfect family day out and the ideal location for weddings and social gatherings of the day. And that legacy still continues to this day.
That's pretty cool. That's a
Pyramid
neat one.
in the ocean, discovered in 1788 by...
This is freaky. This is hella freaky. I can't wait to hear a little bit about this. That's really majestic, really big, just coming right out of the ocean. Get some Shipwreck vibes. That's one of my favorite monoliths here in the U.S. That's in northern New Mexico. It's really creepy and kind of crazy like this. Similar shape, not the same at all. But yeah, this is crazy, dude. I like this.
Royal Naval Lieutenant Henry Ball, hence the name, Ball's Pyramid juts almost 2,000 feet out of the Pacific Ocean. The pyramid in the ocean measures about 3,600 feet in length and 980 feet across, that makes it the tallest volcano stack in the world. It's one of the surviving above-ground remnants of the once lost and recently found sunken continent of Zealandia. And it's the remnants of a massive volcano. It's located off the southeast shores of Lord Howe Island, over 400 miles northeast of Sydney. Ball's Pyramid is one of many sea stacks offshore, the eroded remains of what once were much larger volcanoes that formed about 7 million years ago. It maybe looks like a place where nothing could survive, but it isn't devoid of life. It's home to the rarest insect in the world, the Lord Howe stick insect, famous for being big as a human hand. However, it's not been seen alive in over 70 years. The 6-inch long insects were once common on the neighboring Lord Howe Island, but were assumed to have been eaten into extinction by rats. It's the heaviest flightless stick insect in the world. Somehow, a few of the wingless insects escaped and managed, by means still unknown, to traverse.
How weird is that? Our world is so big, I can't comprehend that. That, we live in these busy areas, really, relatively, right? And there is places in the world, like the ocean, that makes up most of our planet, that is just so isolated and crazy and way out there. This is way out there, and this is a landmass that's really big and majestic, but in reality it's small, right? It's nothing like the size of mainland Australia or America or something, right? So it's just weird that you have this isolated landmass jutting up from the water, and look, there's no vegetation, there's no one living there. Obviously there's not even animals there other than maybe an insect, and it might not even be there. I would assume maybe it is still there. How different it would be if I was sitting there. That's just so weird to me. How big the Earth is. It's wild.
There's over 14 miles of open ocean to thrive on this pyramid in the ocean.
Looked like there were some birds flying around it, though.
Earth's pavement. This is tessellated pavement, and it's named due to its tessellated or tiled-like appearance of the rocks along the water.
Yeah.
Not only is the unusual stone formations a spectacular sight and photographer's dream, but it's also a unique geological phenomenon. The rock that comprises this place is mostly silestone that formed about 300 million years ago by sediments that accumulated on a relatively low-lying area. The sediments eventually got compacted.
Tile.
Local stresses at the Earth's surface then caused the stone to crack and fracture in certain directions. This is called jointing. The way they crisscross each
But what's crazy is it cracked and fractured in what looks like straight lines and perpendicular lines, like 90-degree angles, right? Like these intersections literally look like a city grid or tile in a kitchen. That's wild.
each other is what tiled-like appearance. But wait, the story doesn't end there. Time and water also played a role in creating this site. The rocks are currently on an intertidal seaward platform, and thus years and years of erosion have exaggerated the tiled appearance. The constant action of the salt water splashing over and partly covering the rocks with changing tides has led to the accumulation and percolation of salt water on the rocks. It's quite a sight to behold. Sometimes it's hard to believe certain rock formations are natural, and this is definitely the case here.
Yeah. Nature works in mysterious ways, doesn't it?
Horizontal waterfalls. Sir David Attenborough has called it Australia's most unusual natural wonder.
What is
15 years ago, noted that few people in the world had seen it. On the
I've never
Kimberley
seen anything
coastline,
like it.
This tide is turning in all sorts of cool ways. Known as the horizontal waterfalls, this ocean phenomenon is the result of one of the world's highest tidal shifts compressing two narrow breaks in the Kimberley coastline. It's as though somebody has pulled the plug on the ocean.
Yo, anytime someone mentions anything about the Kimberley, we know that region is unreal. It is like so freaking beyond cool. So I am not surprised something as wild as this I've never even heard of would be around the Kimberley. I mean, come on, this is amazing.
Millions of gallons of ocean sucked through a narrow sea gorge.
Wow.
The water brawling and churning as it goes. During the highest tides, as much as 1 million gallons of water pours through the gaps every second. In addition to being horizontal, the falls are also reversible. Each day, when the tide turns, the falls flow in the opposite direction.
No way.
That's why this is the most dangerous current in Australia.
Yeah,
the seaward gap is about 70 feet in width, while the landward one is about 30. The natural phenomenon is created as seawater builds up faster on one side of the gaps than the other, creating a waterfall up to 13 feet.
Look at them
Those
going right
who
through that.
experience the horizontal falls will find cruise itineraries and local tour operators
send it,
that
buddy.
will take
We're going
them to
right
this
through
natural
this
wonder.
damn thing.
Just don't try to swim there.
No, do not swim there. My goodness.
Shell Beach. This beautiful snow white beach is made up of billions of tiny shells up to 25 feet deep and stretches for over 50 miles. There's no sand,
50 miles?
only shells. Crazy, right? How does that happen?
Yeah,
this beach is one of only a handful of places on Earth where shells replace beach sand.
I imagine
a walk on Shell Beach is like no other. Incredibly, the beach is made up of shells from the Shark Bay cockle. If you don't know what that is, you're not alone. It's a marine bivalve mollusk found in the shallow seas of the coast of Western Australia. On a still day, the ocean at Shell Beach transforms into a palette of the most intense greens and blues, and the water is very salty, making it easy to float for those who aren't strong swimmers. Similar to the Dead Sea in Jordan. This is known as hypersalinity and is favorable to the survival of some marine animals, like, say, cockles, and is unfavorable to the animals that eat them. That's why there are so many cockle shells here. The volume of shell matter produced here is so great that it becomes compressed into a special form of limestone. In fact, in the early 1900s, the shells were quarried, cut into blocks, and used to construct a number of historic buildings.
Dude, that is just wild. I don't even know.
Wave rock.
I don't even know what to say about that. That is mind-blowing. There is a number of shells on that beach that is just bigger than I can comprehend. That is absolutely crazy. I wonder what it would feel like to walk on, and the fact that those kids were just playing with it, making little shapes, like that is just weird. That's hella weird. Wow, these are good so far. Gotta admit it. Australia always delivers.
In Australia, the ocean is not the
wave
only
rock.
place
I've heard of
where
this.
you can catch a wave.
This is pretty
Just
cool.
over a mile east of the unassuming town of Hayden, in Australia's Golden Outback, is a spectacular wave that never breaks. And lucky for us, it's completely frozen in time. It literally
looks like a wave, yeah.
Geologists have dated the rock as 2.63 billion years old, long before dinosaurs roamed the Earth.
That's pretty old.
It began forming during the Cretaceous period over 100 million years ago when Australia broke away from Antarctica. It hardly seems real.
Yeah.
The wave rock looks as though...
You got to tell me down in the comments, have you been to Wave Rock in person? Have you taken a picture like you're riding a wave? Tell me about your experience. I would like to hear that. This is a bucket list thing. This is really cool. I've never seen anything like this anywhere else in the world that I know of. This is really, really unique.
Though it's actually petrified water made of millennia of layered stone. It stands 50 feet high and over 300 feet long. Geologists call it a flared slope, which forms at the base of an isolated rock hill or mountain that juts from a plain. There are several other examples of flared slopes like this throughout Australia, though none like Wave Rock.
No.
Besides being a tourist hotspot with over 100,000 visitors per year, this place has been a sacred site for the local indigenous people for thousands of years.
I imagine so.
Local tribes believe that Wave Rock was a creation of the mystical rainbow serpent, created in her wake by dragging her serpent body over the land after consuming all of the water. So Wave Rock is an icon of cultural learning, indigenous history, plus it looks like a lot of fun to visit.
Yeah, it does.
Cooper the dinosaur. Researchers have confirmed the discovery of Australia's largest dinosaur species ever found. It was about 80 to 100 feet long, 16 to 21 feet tall at its hip when it existed, and weighed somewhere between 25 and 81 tons. For comparison, the Tyrannosaurus rex was about 40 feet long and 12 feet tall. That's quite a difference. It's part of a lineage of dinosaurs called Titanosaurians, which have been found on most continents. New species of a type of dinosaur called sauropods, which had long necks and tails, as well as 4 legs and 8 plates. The researchers say the new species is closely related to 3 other sauropods found in Australia that date to the same time period. The fossilized bones of this new titanosaur were found on a family farm in 2006, about 620 miles west of Brisbane, and nicknamed Cooper. Paleontologists involved in the discovery say it's among the top 15 largest dinosaurs ever found and ranks in similar size to giants found in South America. Their research relied on 3D scan models of bones to compare the dinosaur with its close relatives.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard is like a total hotbed for abnormally large and just crazy unique fossils are South America. I've heard of that. A lot of crazy stuff found down there. But yeah, this is up there. This is really big, freakishly big, like makes a T-Rex look small. And imagine it's found on someone's land. Imagine the thrill and the confusion finding this. Like, how does that happen, right? This is bizarre.
Numerous other dinosaur skeletons have been found in the same area.
Wow. So that's a great area for that. That's
Gnomesville.
Very interesting.
Check out this group of garden gnomes gathered in the bush of
this is
rural
cool,
Western Australia.
Or weird. I don't know
Welcome to Gnomesville. It's one of those things that have to be seen to be believed. It's located just over 2 hours drive south of Perth in the glorious green Ferguson Valley. And it has mad Perthinality. Oh, that's a bad Aussie joke, but we're talking about...
That's a bad joke, man. Come on. I'm laughing because it's that bad.
Gnomes. The small, lovable additions to the garden are often seen as a joke. However, there's something mysterious surrounding these small garden ornaments.
Yeah, what's the story?
Gnomesville is one of those places that everyone who knows about it is curious to explore. Gnomes are extremely magical creatures, and often you'll see a glint in their eye representing their mischievous character. The history surrounding garden gnomes has them portrayed as mystical fairy tale creatures which comes to life at night to help in the garden. Many gardeners feel that gnomes bring good luck to their crops. There are remarkably few people who know exactly how Gnomesville appeared. However, there are several different stories. Some people believe that a random gnome appeared, and other people placed their gnomes so the original one would not be lonely.
Wow. Well, whatever one came first is really not lonely now. Yeah, it makes you wonder if something like that just started by something simple like, oh, I'm just going to place one there just for the hell of it, right? That one won't be lonely, and people just start placing, start adding to it a little bit. but then it gets out of control. Like, is that really how that formed? That'd be funny, right? Or was someone like, I'm going to prank the whole world here, and I'm just going to place 1,000 gnomes in the forest here. It's random, really weird.
If you've ever heard the famous words, "Dingo ate my baby," then you'll appreciate this, because Australia was being overrun by dingoes back in the day. If you don't know what that is, here you go. The dingo is an ancient lineage of wild dogs, and they became a problem. It's believed that travelers from abroad left the once domesticated wild dog in Australia over 4,000 years ago. Left to their own devices, these dogs thrived by falling back on the wolfish instincts of their ancestors. Just ask the millions of sheep that these wild animals were eating. So, in a bid to take control of their livestock and protect their flocks, farmers and lawn makers created Australia's Great Dingo Fence. It's the longest fence in the world, spanning 3,488 miles and surrounded by a 15-foot clearance zone on either side. Originally constructed back in the 1880s, the fence was meant to block dingoes.
Now look at them. Look at them constructing a fence right here, right? Can you imagine how the hell did a fence over 3,000 miles get done? Like that is beyond comprehension. That is insanity that this exists. I'm actually impressed that this is a real thing. That sounds like way too much work. Oh my goodness, wow.
From making a buffet of all of Australia's sheep. It continues unbroken through thousands of miles, and it
pretty
works.
Impressive.
The 6-foot-tall barrier successfully deterred the sheep-eating wild dogs that killed millions of livestock. Although the fence has helped reduce losses of sheep to predators, where dingoes are removed, increasing populations of grazing animals on either side of the fence can lead to overgrazing.
Yeah, everything's going to have some consequences,
Forest
I
and
guess.
a shipwreck. Once a center of industry, this bay was unfortunately contaminated with toxic waste and is now
bizarre.
a commercial and residential suburb of Sydney. However,
what the hell? Look at that. It is separate from that forest right there. This is its own thing on a shipwreck. Dude, again, nature works in some crazy, crazy ways. Nature, what are you doing here? How did a forest grow on a rusty old ship?
The bay's past as a successful trading port still lingers on in the form of 4 abandoned freighters slowly rusting in the waters. And one thing led to another, and the value of scrap metal plummeted, and the wrecking yards went out of business. Once used to transport coal, oil, and war supplies, the ships were eventually decommissioned and simply left where they floated. And it was 1972. After 60 years of faithful service, this vessel was left to float here, having been built in Scotland and sailed to Australia. Then used as a transport supply boat in World War II. Then retired to run coal for the rest of its working life. However, this cargo ship was destined for the scrap heap. Now look at it. While it just sat there, mangrove trees began to grow from the middle of it. The branches of the thriving trees spill from the sides of the ship, slowly breaking down the hull of the long-lived ship, which was originally built in 1911.
That's
where we find ourselves today. There's a shipwreck in Sydney Harbor. In fact, there are several. A group of
And now, after that crazy history this thing's had, now it is on people's TikToks and Instagrams. Hey, look at me, I'm in Sydney, and taking selfies with the forested ship in the background. Oh my goodness.
Of at least 7 rusted hulks still rest in plain sight in one of the world's most beautiful waterways.
That is pretty wild. Gotta admit.
Tunnel of Glowworms. A wondrous family-friendly stroll through a tunnel covered in glistening glowworms awaits all of us who yearn for adventure here in Australia.
Actually, there was one in Australia.
Fireflies light up this dark and muggy old railway tunnel in Wollemi National Park, west of Sydney. In order to reach the ethereal blue-green display, explorers must first traverse a slightly bumpy path by car and walk down abandoned railway tracks past lush forests, narrow gorges, and mystical rock formations. But so worth it. The tunnel was originally built as part of a railway in the early 1900s, but was dismantled in 1940, allowing the damp walls to be blanketed by thousands of sparkling glowworms. Visitors to the cave described it as stunning. Fireflies are soft-bodied beetles that are commonly called fireflies, glowworms, or lightning bugs for their conspicuous use of bioluminescence during twilight to attract mates or prey. Fireflies produce a cold light with no infrared or ultraviolet frequencies. From the lower abdomen may be yellow, green, or pale red. Pretty cool, right?
Jeez.
As the fireflies are sensitive to noise and light, guests to the tunnel must first turn off their torches and stay quiet before the sprite-like gems will twinkle blue and green.
Yeah, that is an experience. Not gonna find that many places.
Town. Coober Pedy is an Australian town where half of its inhabitants live underground. This unusual place...
I, for some reason, have not done a video on this, so I don't know everything about it because I haven't really watched a video on it either. I've just heard from you guys. Sounds like a really bizarre thing that it's still there.
Is at the center of Australia's opal mining industry. Wow. An estimated 70% of the world's opal production can be linked back to the town, earning it the title
crazy.
of Opal Capital of the World.
Sounds like
In fact, the majority of Coober's residents work in the opal industry. Now, the town is becoming a leader in sustainable living despite being one of the hottest, dustiest, and driest places in all of Australia. Welcome.
Look at that.
What began in 1960.
Yo, that is cool. Why do I like that? Look at that. That is freaking cool.
16 as a mining operation in the world has since
Are bugs a problem down there? That's my first question. What crazy big Australian freaks are lurking under there? Or maybe it's clean. I don't know. And second of all, how in the world did they do this? This is really well furnished for underground. This is really cool.
Expanded into this unreal subterranean community. Entire bedrooms, bookstores,
Look at that.
churches, and bars are installed in the carved underground walls. And as you can see,
that's wild.
Nothing about this underground mining town is for the faint of heart. For starters, it's hot. It's the summer temperatures that can creep up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade. Despite this, over the years, Coober Pedy's residents have become extremely adept at life here.
Look at
creating
that.
customized subterranean houses that go beyond just 1 or 2 rooms. It's located in South Australia, over 1,000 miles from Canberra, the country's capital city.
Oh.
And after
Canberra. That is a... I know he's not Australian, but man, that is a rough pronunciation there of Canberra.
100 years of living in these dugouts, the folks who call it home have no plans of leaving.
That's one of my favorite ones on this list. That's really cool.
Devil's Marbles. These rocks are an internationally recognized symbol of Australia's outback and are particularly impressive in the morning and evening light when their red colors are highlighted in the sun. However,
whoa, look at that. Look at that. It looks like it's balancing on there, right? That's pretty wild, right? Again, how these things form is
much
just
more extensive
me.
and spiritually significant than
And I love the red.
Postcards.
You guys know I love red rocks. That red soil and those red rocks. Jeez, it's so cool, man. Really, really cool. The outback is just beautiful.
The entire area is of great spiritual significance to many people here.
Jeez.
Known as Karlu Karlu by Aboriginals, many creation stories of this area take place near the Devil's Marbles. Some people believe that the giant rocks are the fossilized eggs of the mythical rainbow serpent. Beyond their significance, the Devil's Marbles conservation area is much larger than most give it credit. The park actually spans 4,500 acres and houses hundreds of rounded rocks. Some of the rocks are over 20 feet in diameter, while others are smaller than 1 foot. Over millions of years, erosion of sandstone and exposure to the elements caused these granite rocks to take rounded edges, making the many fields full of marbles we see today. And of course, it's one of Australia's most popular tourist destinations. It's a great place with amazing facilities to stop for a night and set.
This looks like the quintessential Australian outback landscape. Like this right there, that is a postcard, right? Slap Australia up here. That as an American from the outside, like this just looks so Aussie to me. Like there is no other landscapes that I can think of off the top of my head on earth that look quite like this. This just has that Australian flair, the really red rocks and the greenery mixed in. And this just whole barren desert thing, it's wild. It's really, really cool. And for people that ask, why am I interested in Australia? How did this all start? I still don't know exactly how to answer that. It was just kind of organic. But this is one of the reasons. I've always loved this type of scenery. And this is, like I said, very signature Australia. So very, very cool.
way to end the video. Make sure to get some good pics and videos while you're here. Hopefully, you learned a lot about Australia in these fascinating videos.
Yeah, that was a good one. I got to admit, you never know with these channels that kind of pump out these random clickbaity videos, but this one wasn't clickbait. This was pretty interesting. Definitely tell me down below what stood out to you, what they got right, what they got wrong. That was very, very, very interesting. Some wild things. A lot of things I thought I would know, but honestly, more than half that list I did know. So that was a lot of new things that I can look into further. Very, very cool, guys. Cannot wait to see in the comments. Please, if you learned something and enjoyed this, throw a thumbs up on the video. I do appreciate it. Subscribe. We are almost at 50K, guys. Come on, get us there. I do appreciate that as well. Of course, check the description. This original video will be linked down there, as well as other ways you can support my channel. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.